Battlefield 2042's first season is coming in early 2022. Now, as DICE go into the winter break, it's safe to say that the game probably won't receive another update until late January, but in terms of content, it could even be a little bit later than that. Now, on this channel, I tend to avoid information that comes from data miners, especially in the case of Battlefield 5, where the development of the game didn't necessarily match what was actually going to happen. Back then, there were all kind of wacky mock-ups and design ideas, but ultimately none of them really led to anything. Whereas this time around, we know that Season 1 is coming, and we know that there have been alleged leaks and rumors surrounding what Season 1 already is going to be, and this data mine basically just corroborates that information. Now, before I get this video underway, this video is sponsored by WD Black. Now, these guys have a fantastic offer. If you're looking to pick up 2042 but also want to give yourself fantastic NVMe based storage, this is the solution for you. The WD Black SN750SE NVMe drive comes with a code of Battlefield 2042, and you can get it in 500GB or 1TB editions of the drive. This thing is super fast, with sequential read-write times of up to nearly 4GB per second, meaning that your games and operating systems are going to be super snappy if you utilize this drive. The WD Black SN750SE is also powering my PC and is one of my primary game drives that I install things onto. So if you want to get yourself a fantastic bit of storage and a copy of Battlefield 2042 all in one, this is the place to go to. Check it out in the link in the description below. So Season 1 seems to be centered around the Canadian Rockies, and there's actually been a couple of inklings towards what this map is going to be officially from EA and DICE themselves. Now, previously, as they announced the changes of leadership at EA and DICE and Battlefield generally speaking, they said that the brand new map was going to shift our idea of what was possible in map design, and that it was this incredible thing that's going to be really cool. And it has been rumoured as well that during the development of 2042, certain weather effects and features of the game were pushed back because they simply weren't feature ready in time, but would feature in future updates and future content. And that appears to be the case. The alleged map is rumoured to be titled Exposure, which is an updated name from the previously data mined name Ridge. Now, this appears to be set in British Columbia and in the Canadian Rockies, and features a landslide and seismic activity at a US research base. The US description of the map says seismic activity in British Columbia has damaged a Canadian US research facility base. A landslide has exposed the interior and damaged the surrounding area. The Russians wrongly allege that this has revealed a military weapon and are deploying forces onto Canadian soil to confirm it. And on the Russian side, it says, a landslide in the Canadian Rockies granted us a view inside the Black Ridge facility, hence the previous name Ridge. And what we see is a direct threat, a weapon that cannot be allowed to continue to operate. Today's mission is urgent. You will travel to the base along with our allies, then secure all sectors on site. Now, this is really fascinating because this map is allegedly pushing the boundaries of map design, and if seismic activity or the landslide itself offers variations of entry points, that could be exactly what EA and DICE are talking about. Now, this part here is a little bit more speculative on my own part, but I personally believe that they're going to use the landslide and the seismic activity in such a way that the map kind of shifts around a little bit, so that the base itself is a fully realized structure, but maybe one game, you know, the landslide lands a certain way and you've got access to a certain part of the facility, but then the next game, different entry points come open, or partway through the game, maybe it shakes itself up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, but this does appear to be officially data mined from the game in the lead up to new content, and considering they tend to get this stuff a little bit more ready before it actually officially drops, I do think that this is going to be the case, and I think there's a lot of information that corroborates that this brand new map Exposure taking place in the Canadian Rockies is going to be a factor. And this also poses some interesting opportunities for new weapons, possibly a new vehicle as well, or new vehicles that could link to that, and it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I imagine a light vehicle or a sort of transporty style vehicle to deal with the landslides would probably be most preferable. Now, we don't know the full amount of things that are coming in Season 1. We know that a map is coming for certain, and we know a few weapons and definitely a vehicle is coming, but for all we know, Season 1 could be a lot more than that, and we're just not aware of it. They may bring some things into Battlefield Portal, they may make some changes to Hazard Zone. It's difficult to really say what the scope and scale of each season is going to be, other than the information that we already know, info, which isn't really a lot. Now the only tricky part of this video is that there appears to be about 12 weeks of pre-season content in the lead up to Season 1, which would mean that Season 1 doesn't drop until March 2022. Now yes, there will be some changes before that, there will be updates, fixes, and bug patches, and all kinds of things that you would expect to see, but whether or not the game can really suffice until March without any new content is something I'm struggling to wrap my head around. At the bare minimum, it probably would be nice to see if they could release, a couple of weapons or something in the lead up to that, so we're not waiting for content all the way into March. And I guess my greatest fascination really is what they're going to do with Battlefield Portal. Now, this is the first season of the game, people are expecting big things, and the more the merrier really in this example. It's entirely possible that we could see a major and significant update for Battlefield Portal, which would be super exciting and something that I would love to see more of. If they re-enable XP game for Battlefield Portal and add a lot of features and functionality and continue to push content into the game even from previous Battlefields like BF1, then we could be off to a great opportunity in Battlefield 2042, where the game hits the ground running. And even if it's March 2022, which I personally think is a little bit late, if they hit the ground running with a significant amount of content, or a fair amount of content coming within the whole of Season 1, I don't think people will necessarily care as much. For sure, it's safe to say that I'm a little bummed out about the situation being in March 2022, but if they come out in March 2022 and say, well, we've got 8 guns, maybe 1 or 2 maps, a few bits of content for Portal, and some good changes, then I think most people will be happy with that, and it'll be the initial start of Battlefield's live service. So folks, it'll be interesting to see your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think of a potential seismic map in the Canadian Rockies, and what do you want to see out of Season 1? Now, we don't know exactly everything we're going to see, but what is it that you're looking for? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next video.